Greetings and salutations, friends. Character NPC back at the gaming table. This time with a real classic Hex Encounter wargame, or Hex and Chit as I used to call them. It's hard for me to go back and forth, but I'm going to try to stick with Hex Encounter to be consistent. This is GDW's Game Design Workshop Europa, which had some iterations through its ownership. You had GDW, who also did Traveler and Harpoon and other great role-playing and board game titles. But Europa is a true wargaming classic. I think it has parts of its rule set that are replicated in other games, those that are themselves then reproduced today by GMT and other game designers, Decision Games and the like, who bought licensing from the old games, and really kind of has become a mainstay. There was always the concept right from the beginning that there would be a cohesive set of maps, counters for the order of battle, and rules that would cover all of war in Europe in World War II. They didn't get through all of it. This one in particular is not a part of an actual box set. It is Czechoslovakia in 1938, so the beginning of World War II. And I am playing the German forces. The initial attack, some might say the beginning of World War II, the invasion of Czechoslovakia inside this red line, which represents the original border of Germany on these two sides, what was Austria over here. We'll talk about that in a minute, but Germany and Czechoslovakia. The invasion in 1938 of the Germans. Here is Berlin, Leipzig, Dresden, the capital, Prague, Brno, Bratislava. I've come to realize a lot about the reality of things through playing this scenario, but it's been very interesting to learn and see and understand more about the history behind things, these engagements, versus what actually happened through the kinetic, you might say, events through battle. Back in the day, content would come through magazines and the like. Dungeons and Dragons had the Dragon magazine. Europa had a couple of different magazines. This one in particular, Europa Nuts and Bolts. This is an article that was the Czech Army of 1938. So it went through a discussion about the state of the Czech Army. It was issue 21-22. I won't go through it in detail in this particular episode, but it's something that I'd like to cover in another episode. This game, as I said, was a scenario, though, from that Nuts and Bolts article, which laid out the order of battle and all of the rules of special rules of engagement and these kinds of things. This scenario is Case White, which is the Poland, Case White, and then the fall of France. So between these two box sets, originals, you would be able to play this scenario and follow through the order of battle here. I know that's not easy to see, but it's explaining in this. Fourth Army goes here, right? Third Army goes there. Second Corps, whatever it is. So as I said, this is GDW's Europa. It's a scenario from people who put forward content and sent it in. This would have been done through the regular U.S. mail in those days. And they put together this article that talked all about Czechoslovakia and how they were really pretty good. I mean, compared to the Germans, they were better outfitted and ready to go versus a lot of the German units. But anyway, at the end of the day, I think this particular scenario, which starts on October 1st, 1938, some supply special rules and other things. This has been a very interesting scenario, and I love that this particular game, as opposed to other war games that you could play today, some GMT game that may be about a particular scenario, time frame, or something of World War II. I love that this can all be linked together and played through with the Europa series of games, and you can put fictitious scenarios of your own together. All right, so state of the game. This first turn has been really interesting in that I was so focused on getting back into playing Europa as a game. I was thinking about the rules and totally just miffed on military strategy. And you can see all these units that have these U1 on top of it. These are out of supply. They've been cut off. My opponent, he knows what he's doing. As a defender, he's made a nuisance of himself and completely cut off the supply lines for the Germans. In hindsight, looking at the units from the order of battle and what the Germans actually had to do, I don't see that this is doable from a military standpoint. It really took I think it really took both the fog of war as well as politics that all really ended the battle. There's no reason why anyone would have thought that the Germans would have won looking at this from purely a military perspective. With the forces that I have, I am not going to go in a month's time frames to take these 3 cities and get them to capitulate. That doesn't mean that I couldn't gain enough victory points to maybe get some kind of victory. I haven't really looked at it as much as this is our first game and I'm just enjoying playing and this is what I'm learning. I should have had a lot more units defending these major crossroads that are major supply hubs. In Europa, this is not just a road, this is heavy rail. And this would be light rail. All rail has a road with it. So little minor roads aren't really presented here on this board. And we'll get into that as I get into videos about how to play Europa scenarios and the details about the game. It's not really difficult to play. And it transfers across so many different campaigns and theaters through the series. It's really worth your time and effort, and I don't think people look back at it as a relevant game so much in 2025 versus the more modern games, quote unquote, as people would call it. And it's unfortunate because these games really are both deep in that there is air. You can see that the air bases, the various types of air bases, have sizes that matter, and levels of fortification matter, and supported units, whether they have heavy weapons, matters. Breaking down divisions can be done if necessary for the exploitation phase, so it has 2 movement phases for exploitation of mechanized, motorized units. Air really matters. They're unique discrete units, and there's transport and bombers and fighters, and you have fighters with escort and fighters that are interdiction, fighters that are air superiority. These are mission types, so their operations matter. There's armored in attack, armored in defense, and anti-tank effects, and those things are determined by regimental equivalent, REs as they call them. So that's where some people get into it's too complex, but it's no more complex than any other game. There's always something, even in those GMT Mark Simonich games and things, you're always going to have some kind of mathematical ratio or something, and it's no different. It's just understanding the rule, and once you understand it, and it's in your head, it just becomes natural, and you don't really think about it so much. So a fantastic game. I'm really enjoying it, and mainly what I'm enjoying most about it is being able to play against another individual who's coming over to the house and hanging out, and then we have some lunch, we talk more about it, and getting to know each other as friends and things. We made games as a social thing, right? Games through history, whether it's chess was never a solo game, cards, not solo, dice, none of it. There might be a few games here and there through history that you could call out and say, these are totally solo games, but really, they're forms of entertainment in a group. And so as far as the state of gaming in 2025 goes, it's hard to find people who are playing face-to-face, and I put a lot of time and effort forward to find people who do. I think this is a great game that aligns with that. If you're a hex and counter war gamer, you get a lot of bang for your buck with these Europa games, especially because we decided, okay, let's start at the beginning of World War II. And we could have gone back to the Portuguese, Spanish Civil War. This is really the Germans attacking and kind of kicking things off when everyone else is kicking the can down the road and not getting involved. So I don't know whether this is all making sense. I'm kind of rambling here, but I think this at least puts together a framework for what I'm doing today. Kind of kicks off that I'm playing this game, mano a mano against another guy. It's the beginning of World War II. I'm playing the Germans attacking the Czechoslovakian original borderlines here before they capitulate, which they won't do here. He's not going to capitulate. He's taking towns here, which are cutting off all of my units, and I only have 3 more turns. Each turn is 2 weeks. So it's going to be interesting, and stay tuned for more.